We need an intro for this thing.
We do. Are we gonna? This is our intro.
This is our intro today.
This is our intro today because every time we hit record and we have to clap, we look at each other like we've never done this before.
Yeah. So welcome to the Mom Life Podcast.
Yeah, welcome to the Mom Life Podcast. And we're missing one of our dads today, but we have his chair right here.
Yeah.
If you guys miss Josh, we'll make sure he's
This is
here
2
next
weeks in a row
week.
he's been gone.
Is it? Well,
he
we had the interview last week, so
I wasn't
he didn't-
invited for Chris.
Yeah, see, we didn't invite him. So, anyway, today we are going to be talking about the scale.
Yeah. The scale.
Good old scale. Gosh, I said it. I even got a little tightness in my chest talking about it.
That thing.
We know that it can create a lot of emotion for all the moms that we work with. And understandably so, just from a female perspective, no offense, Jeff.
Yeah, none taken.
I know for a lot of the moms that I work with, and myself included in this, we really do feel like there is a lot of value placed in that number, whether it's we place it upon ourselves or we just feel it out in the world. So I just want to first acknowledge that we totally understand why it can seem like it's the most important thing.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, I've seen it. I've witnessed it.
Yeah,
hundreds of times.
Yeah, you've worked
I
with
know
a lot of
exactly
moms
what it
past 20
does.
years, 19 years, like.
Yeah, I know I know the emotion that it creates. I've seen it. I see it in I can hear it in their voice. I can see it when I'm first sit down to talk to them. When we bring that aspect up, and then I also see the change in the relief sometimes when I say this isn't going to be part of the journey when we start. And, it's almost a look of confusion, and then it becomes a look of like relief. Oh, good. It's, not exactly why I'm here, but, let's just start with that. Like, a lot of people think it is part of the journey or has to be part of the journey. It's built in.
That's what I was just going to say.
It's an expectation to.
Yeah, the reason for that is
process.
because normally when someone, and I use the word normally loosely, whatever, whenever I'll use myself, just throw myself out as an example out here. In the past, whenever I've focused in on, let's say, a diet or a program or losing weight or whatever, really the driver behind it in the past was weight loss. So it was very natural to think that the scale should play a very large role.
Yeah, I mean, even heck, for a long time, I thought that is what people actually wanted because that's what everybody said they wanted. They said, "Hey, they'd come in, they say, I want to lose weight." Okay, I would take people at face value, and obviously doing this long enough, I've realized that is not.
Yes.
That's people are just they don't know what else to say. They don't know what else they might actually be looking for. So if I just say I want to lose weight, that's just the easy answer that anybody will accept.
Yeah, and when you've taken people down that road, I've taken people down the road, you've taken people down the road of a journey. Sometimes the weight loss is a part of it, but a lot of times it's the feeling, not from the weight loss, it's the feeling of confidence that they build in keeping commitments to themselves and working on their daily habits. When weight loss just becomes a byproduct of all of those wonderful things that they're doing, but we try to take them to that place with focusing on those daily habits versus focusing just on the scale as your only tool to help you.
Yeah. Let's take it back. Like, let's go over what do people feel? What does a scale make them feel? Let's go over some of the main things.
Okay.
Like, what does a scale mean to women you've worked with? What did it used to mean to you?
For me, that number on the scale, and we just interviewed Chris Ford last week. So her and I have a very similar viewpoint of the scale. The scale was something that I used weekly or however often I did, whatever. I wasn't an everyday wear, but I used it it really determined what my next steps were. And sometimes that didn't mean good steps or planning. That meant if the scale was up and I thought I was working hard, that would cause me to want to quit, and not quit for a day or two. It could go on for literally weeks, months, years of just feeling like just defeated by that one single number, being frustrated at the process of thinking of how I could or had to lose this weight, and therefore I did nothing. So for me, the scale really dictated like my confidence. It dictated my mood. If it was down, I might have felt good for a little bit, but then also I might reward myself for it being down. So it really played like these two very big roles, but neither one of them were helpful at the time.
Would you say it determined your success?
Absolutely.
So whatever you did the week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks before, determination of success was about to happen when you step on the scale.
Yes, if the scale was down, then everything was worth it.
If the scale isn't down, I didn't succeed.
Correct.
And there's a lot of people that I know that would be kind of my number one that I've seen is it determines success.
Yes.
And that's, completely false, but let's go on down to what else it can mean. It can determine who and what you get to do on a weekend. Mm-hmm. Chris talked about this last week, but I know I've heard people say, "Yep, I didn't go out with my friends last night because I knew I had to weigh in." Mm-hmm. So today I'm doing nothing, and then after I weigh in, now I get to party. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was based, social life is actually based around a scale.
Yes, and that the restriction that went along with basing your social activities on what you could or couldn't eat, and even to the point of like being not wanting to celebrate holidays or birthdays or special occasions because you were so focused on the scale that you just decided that it really wasn't an important event to celebrate, and you needed to really just focus in on what you ate so that way the scale could continue to control your life. So,
I even think that the scale determines people's self-worth sometimes.
When we got started, that's really what I was leaning towards. Like, we place a lot of value in it, and I say I'm not, I don't know if men feel this way about it. Like, if, when did you start paying attention to your weight or weighing yourself? I do think it's different for men and women.
I think so, but I think there's plenty of men that have the feelings too, that are checking the scale on a daily basis and still going through a lot of the same process. Maybe they aren't as vocal about it.
Okay.
Internally, I think they still feel it. I think there's still a lot of men that, feel a value or lack thereof if they're not.
Yeah, that's attached
if
to
the
that
scale
number. Okay.
Isn't matching what they say. Maybe not as high, but I think there's plenty of them out there.
Okay.
So those would be the three kind of the big ones that the scale can determine, affect your social life, and define your success and or self-worth.
Yes.
So that is why when we start, so now, the ultimate goal is to teach, how do we take this thing that is so destructive and how do we actually use it and use it as a positive or a useful tool. And again, we eliminate it when we start working with somebody for at least 6 to 8 weeks is what I say. And a lot of times it goes even longer than that because people see the value in not having this thing part of their life.
Yeah, if the scale was creating that much stress, all of a sudden people are very excited to remove, not at first, there's a lot of resistance, but once they feel the stress relief from not focusing on that scale, it's amazing what happens inside their brain and what they start thinking about. And now they're thinking about the other things that we're focusing on and less on that scale. So it becomes easier to create a relationship with it that has a bigger distance than weekly or however often it would be, however they used it before.
Yeah. So really, it starts off breaking that attachment to it. So that way, you get to show up for however long you choose not to use this. And you get to decide if you were successful. Did I show up to my workouts? Did I eat the way that I wanted to? Do I actually feel good? Because the scale, go back to what another damaging thing it does is before you get on, you feel one way. And as soon as you step on, you feel another way. Mm-hmm. And it comes with high emotions when people aren't trained to not use it. So that emotional roller coaster to eliminate that and actually know what feeling good means. Because people that use the scale don't really know what that means. And it's kind of a hard thing to describe until you go through it.
Absolutely. It's like, that's what I was talking about when you get started. Like, the emotion is so high that you can't even detach yourself from it. And it really is a freeing feeling. And it's even a better for me sitting on the other side of the coaching table, watching someone go through a transformation that I have felt myself with the scale is just like, it brings it full circle. And I know you feel that way too, just from when you started coaching to, like you said, what you looked at, and now seeing somebody actually, like, you can see it register in their eyes, you can hear it in their voice, knowing that they've gone somewhere else.
Yeah. And, this whole podcast even came because, I've a few women that I've worked with about a year ago. It just kind of seems like all of a sudden they're wanting more. Like, and I know they're in such a good place and they've done well. Some have lost 50 pounds, 60 pounds. Mm-hmm. They've lost a lot of weight without having to check on the scale. It's obvious. You can see it, the change, but they're still in a position like, I'd still like more. And a year later, now we're ready. And I can feel confident to be like, well, let's use this thing and let's use it as a tool. But I still ask a few questions. The first one is, if you step on and you don't get a result, are you going to quit the gym? Are you going to do you think it'll be emotional? And if one of those two answers comes up, then we're not ready. It should not be emotional. It should be, okay, this is where I'm at. Now we're going to dive into the food a little bit and we're going to make adjustments. And then we're going to get on in a week later or 2 weeks later, whatever we decide. Some people still don't even like the idea of weekly. That's too often.
Yeah.
And I'm good with, I would honestly suggest bi-weekly. 14 days is a much better sample size of what you're doing, what you're working on, to say yes or no, it's not working. Mm-hmm. And that's what we're going to do. Is we're going to use this thing probably bi-weekly, some monthly, and we're going to set up a plan, kind of reconfigure, make sure we're checking all our boxes.
Yes.
And the biggest thing that we start looking for is making sure people are eating enough. For almost every one of these women, they told me, went over their food a little bit, all under eating again. They kind of, the food is kind of decreased on them. So we're going to ramp that back up and then we're going to find out if it works.
Yeah. And for some of them, it's unintentionally pulling back, and some of them it is intentionally pulling back. But again, it's about, Jeff said, learning the process about what's going to lead to the result. So we still want to keep the focus in on all those daily things that are going to lead to that result. But now reintroducing the scale in a way that doesn't create an emotion. It doesn't create a good day or a bad day. It creates data.
That's exactly it.
And then data over time with their consistency, we're going to see whether or not that tool works. Yeah. And how to adjust it, because now we have data and we're not emotional about it either.
Yeah, we're just going to look at it as data and that's it. It's just plot points on a graph, and then we're going to, mess around with the numbers a little bit, but mm-hmm. I think once they all get back to what they were doing when they're, making sure everything is tight mm-hmm. and nothing slips, because unfortunately over time things do slip. So that's the biggest thing, is it's going to become a data point, and that's all the scale will be. If we see emotion come back into it, we'll get rid of it.
Come to your house, and we will take the scale and we will hide it forever.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Maybe.
We do suggest that if you are out there listening and you find that you're topping on the scale multiple times a day, which I highly do not recommend doing, because the scale is going to fluctuate from the morning to the night, day to day, week to week. And especially for women, it's going to be dependent on our cycles and hormones and all those fun things.
It's amazing how many women I've worked with that forget that this happens every 4 weeks.
We don't forget, but I know what you mean.
They always come in, whenever I've done it in the past, that they're weighing weekly, and it's
1 week is just off.
That week, it's like, and they come in and they're shocked that they're up. I'm like, well, what time of the month is it? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Whew. Now that makes sense now.
Yeah. If you are on a weight loss journey and you truly haven't even really started on it yet, I think it's important to collect that first weigh-in.
Yeah.
If it's something you're going to work on, like, we don't want to just like skip it, because I do know that on the other side of this, there is the avoidance of actually like coming to reality with what it is, or even overthinking that it's worse than it is. You might get on the scale and be like, oh, wait a minute. Like, you might actually feel a little bit of relief. Like, this isn't what I thought it would be. And again, it's still data, but it does give you, it does create a sense of just like, okay, it gives you that starting point. But now then we want to focus in on your day-to-day habits and what you're doing that would cause that to change. That might be a time to take that 6 to 8 week break from it and really focus in on what your day-to-day looks like.
Yeah, because that's what's going to make the long change last forever. So yeah, if you're starting your journey, or if weight loss has always been what you're chasing, try chasing something better. And that's what we do well, is help people find out what they're really after, because weight loss is rarely it.
Yeah, it's
a great byproduct.
Yeah, and it's
it's
a feeling that comes from it, but it's the feeling of, for just to use some of the words of our clients, being able to say yes to the things that they want to do, feeling good, feeling confident, feeling like they're capable of more than what they had placed a limiting belief on what they thought they could do. And it has nothing to do with the number on the scale, but it does have to do with all those boring, consistent daily habits. I'll say it again.
Yeah. Boring, consistent daily habits. So yeah, if you're struggling, or if you're somebody who is finding yourself stepping on the scale regularly, then shoot us a message and let's have a conversation about what it looks like to not use that tool. And you might be amazed as what can happen.